also with Living Like Hustlers, one of the things that I was always intrigued and frustrated about was like when you guys would do like untouchable video where the beat was different than on the album.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, because my money was a little tight, I couldn't be getting everything. So, uh,
Right. You was
so
a
my,
youngin. You was a youngin then.
so my question is, when do you guys remember why you decided to modify the beat and make it a little different from the video versus the?
I think I was thumbing through some crates and then I said, we want to do a remix. We wanted to do a remix anyway. The remix came out so dope to us that they wanted to shoot a video to it. We wanted to shoot the video to the original one. We just wanted to do a remix. You know what I mean? We just thought, okay, because back then cats would remix a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, oh, let's do the remix. Give the song a different vibe. But we didn't actually want to do the video to it. That was like a label call. That was like Eazy or Dre and Law Collective. Like we didn't really care. We was like, okay, y'all want to shoot a video to the remix, whatever. They were the record execs. I mean, not us. We were the talent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then that was with the cigarette boats and all the different things that you guys had in that
Yeah.
video. I want you to explain for Above the Law what, and of course, Murder Rap before that. But what impact did you guys see that your videos had on your sales, on your popularity when you did shows?
I think it had. I think because since we didn't get radio, and video was very important, and then Murder Rock got banned, so Untouchables was the one that got played. So that kind of kicked Living Like Hustlers up to another level. I mean, Living Like Hustlers had already sold a lot of records just on the underground, like a couple 100,000, but we hadn't even been seen. I think the only thing we were seeing was I'm not sure if BET showed it. I'm not sure if Rap City showed it. I know MTV for sure showed rap, but they showed Untouchables and they showed both networks showed that. So when Untouchables came out, that kind of stepped that stepped us up a lot. That stepped the record up a lot. That stepped the success, the popular. I mean, and back then, I think you were more core popular than you were like popular. How music is now. You were more core popular, like amongst like cats like you, in school and people sharing stuff and I got the tape, let me dub it, let me that kind of thing. Oh no, you got to get your own, brother. What I'm saying? So I think the word of mouth when people saw Untouchable said, okay, it's about to go down in a real way because a lot of people hadn't seen Murder Rap. So, but it was a lot of media owners because of the band. So I think when Untouchables came out, yeah, it definitely boosted up, the popularity on Above the Law. We kind of started coming out of that underground into more of like the hip hop scene, basically. At the time, a lot of the Ruthless stuff was really core. It was really underground. It wasn't as commercial because some things were still kind of borderline commercial with hip hop, But for as West Coast hip hop, remember it was all, start having explicit lyric sticker on it, so it's kind of forbidden. So you were kind of known in the hoods and in the schools and in the colleges and stuff like that, and until your video came out. But one thing I can say about video back then, if you think about video back then, if you had a video back then, you was heavy. You was a big artist considered. Oh, they got a video, because cats would be like, hey, you never get a video unless like like you've arrived. You remember how it was back then? People didn't have, it wasn't multiple videos. Here we were on our second video in a new group. So
yeah, the videos were key. I remember seeing Murder Rap multiple times and being very excited because I love the song. So looking back on it, what do you think is the real reason, or why do you think it really got banned?
Well, the real reason why it got banned is because of MTV politics. First of all, they didn't really want to play a lot of rap in general. You know what I mean? The record was a #1 record, and they still wouldn't play it. But it's a scene in there where Dre, Eazy, and Law pay a judge off, and then I get out. That scene. That's why, and we wanted to. as a label executive, one thing I respect about Eazy-E, rest in peace, greatest, you know what I mean, next to Muhammad Ali for me, you know what I mean. So he didn't want to take away from the integrity of Above the Law. He's like, if you cut that scene out, then we don't have no, and we're trying to impact the game. I don't want you tampering with anything, a message that we're trying to send. You know what I mean? So he refused, and we rolled with it, and it became a bigger record from that. From the controversy alone, it became a bigger record and went #1. So from that controversy alone, so they just actually helped us by doing that because it put the media spotlight on us. Then our album came out, which is one of the first, I think it's either Banned in the USA and Us is the first albums that have the explicit lyric stickers on them.
Yeah, it was definitely early in the game.
Yeah.
And that being said, too, with Eazy-E and this thing, how did Eazy-E understand and appreciate how to flip controversy into promotion, into artistic expression, into promotion in a way that really helped Above the Law, that helped NWA, that even helped Eazy-E himself?
I think he knew. It's funny, Soren. I think he knew if you agitate the gravel a little bit and you really have something of quality, people will respect you. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing at Ruthless. Ruthless was always about, I won't say like pushing controversy, but I think he knew that I have enough talented people that if the controversy wasn't there, people would still see their talent. So he used it as a vice to get your attention to these talented young people. You know what I mean? So anything he could stir the pot with, he would. You know what I mean? So any kind of thing that said, "Oh yeah, you got a problem with that?" Well, fuck you, basically. You know what I mean? So I have a problem with it, and it made them put the camera on us and see, like, okay. Then when people start listening, oh, it's kind of dope though. They just ain't just talking crazy. You know what I mean? It's quality. So I think he knew that. And he knew how to use the controversy because he had great talent around him. And he knew when to use it because he didn't use it with Doc. He didn't use it with, everybody. He only used it with, okay, Eazy-E and WA Above the Law. He knew when to use it. He said, okay, because you guys got something. He was the person that kind of instilled in us to where, okay, create your own lane. I'm gonna back your play. Because he was like, okay, whatever the fuck y'all on, I'm gonna back it. You know what I mean? And he just knew how to stir the pot enough to be like, okay, I'm gonna stir the pot. I'm gonna stir the pot like this, and then y'all just stand firm. Don't be like, oh well, we didn't, and you just had to roll with it. Because I was thinking like, hey man, if they want to cut it out. You're like, no, you don't. That's your integrity, man. He knew it. He was like, okay, if you lose that, then every time they come to you, you're gonna be a whole nother person. So he didn't mind, and he took that risk. And you got to realize this is the embryo stages of hip hop. Like this isn't really like as an industry. I mean, it had been around for a bit, but I mean, for us like our industry, it was the beginning of it. We didn't really have an industry out west at that point. And us being the new people that came along, the new group of people that came along, we were thinking like, okay, how you feel like, hey man, just roll with it. He always was against the grain though. He always believed in what we were doing, even if it was against the grain.
Yeah. Well, we often talk in general, you and I personally, and during interviews about Eazy, of course. But one thing, like with Laylaw, something else I wanted to talk to you about was your bond with Ren, because over the years, you did a lot of stuff with Ren. So I wanted, and he is also criminally underrated in my opinion, and doesn't get.
Oh, definitely one of the greatest MCs that that ever made records, ever lived. That what I mean. He's a good friend of mine. He's always been my friend. He's one of the first few people that kind of, when I first came to the label, embraced me as a young MC because we were both young at the same time. I was cool with Ice Cube as well, but me and Ren just had a bond. We had a lot of things in common. We were street guys. You know what I mean? We came up pretty like, on that side of things, slash being in the paint, I won't say being underrated, but just being the guys that's like really want to go for everything we can go for. So we had a lot of things in common. So You know, my relationship with him grew, and we were neighbors too. Like when we started making records, I moved. Me and him live 5 minutes from each other. We play ball together. We do everything together back then. You know what I mean? I was single at the time. He got married, so kind of like, you know, you know how that is. Um, but and then we made Villain in Black album together, which was one of my dopest pieces of art, I think. You know what I mean, as a producer. And yeah, man, he's brilliant, man. His mind is just so brilliant, man. Like how he can go from gangster shit to politics and still keep it gangster. Like he's just one of those, and lyrically can't be touched. You know, can't be touched. And a guy with a high bar, he's a guy with a high bar. But if you sat with him, you would know that he have a high bar like that. He just is so down to earth. But he's a killer on that mic, man. No one could touch him. You know.
Because of the many things you guys did together, of course, the last song, he's just so phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
On that. So for you as a producer, as a rapper yourself, when you hear and you're seeing like someone like MC Ren deliver this amazing lines, like how does that affect you?
Oh, well, I mean, the thing about being at Ruthless, at that point, competition is high. I'm trying to take his head off, if I can. Just like he's trying to take my head off if I can. It's just friendly fire, as we say, And no, it's very, very motivating. I wish, my wish is that Doc had his voice. If Doc had his voice, the last song would have been, oh my God, off the chain. Talking about blows getting thrown. No, I mean, just being on a record with him, always motivated me to he always pushed me, because he has such a high bar, and he's not even a guy like that. You know what I'm saying? He's not even a guy like, he's not a I'm better than you type of guy. He just have a high bar of being that lyrical wizard. You know what I mean? And it always motivated me to see Ren. Ren was one of the people that when I came to Ruthless and when I really started being around NWA and Eazy-E, that I always looked at like being the bar as an MC in the camp. You know what I mean? And yeah, when you think about the last song, yeah, it's like, hey, you better bring the A game because he just put some A shit. He just put an A play down. So
yeah. And then you got Eazy with the comedy Gangster. So
there you go. Yeah. He that's the thing about Eazy. That's why I say, like, even his whole persona, he always, whatever could shock you, he wanted, he knew that's what make you listen. That's the cleverness of it. It's like, oh, I want to say some wacky shit so they'll listen. You know what I mean? You can tell I'm crazy, the 666, all that kind of stuff. That's just him just trying to get your attention. He really don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about that shit. You know what I'm saying? He's just trying to get everybody's attention, but that's what he was good at. That was his hook. So, even if you look at his verse on Same Gang, like, it's wacky. You know what I mean? Like, everything about him was kind of a whack, but that's what made people pay attention to him. And I think everybody at Ruthless had their own pocket to be in. Like, what made Doc who he was, what made me and KMG who we were, Ren, Eazy, Dre, what made us, when you heard our voices, I think it was like the different types of instruments, you know what I mean, that you heard. It wasn't, nobody had the same flow. Nobody had the same cadence. Nobody had the same sauna. One guy's wacky. One guy's kind of a cutthroat. One guy's a lyrical killer. One guy's kind of like a street reporter. You know what I mean? And one guy's a illustrator showing you, painting pictures as a, So, and I think that made we created a culture within ourselves. You know what I'm saying? For us, people don't understand. And me and Ren was talking about this before. He's like, people don't understand that short span that we had to develop what we developed, and it to be so legendary to people. It wasn't a long time. It was a short span. It was maybe like a 3-year span of everything. Everything from when you hear from JJ Fad all the way up to Above the Law and Cocaine. It's only like a 3 years time frame. For everything that come into the fold, You know what I mean? And it's crazy. You know, and we had everything from hardcore hip hop to a straight lyrical guy like a D.O.C. to Michel'le to R&B. You know, so I think for us that was the brilliance of what we did at Ruthless, and I don't really think that we even get the credit for that. You know what I mean? For innovating a lot of those things. You know, Michel'le comes before Mary J. Blige. No disrespect, I love Mary. You know what I mean? But she comes before Mary J. Blige. She was the first artist to do an R&B hip hop album. You know what I mean? So a lot of things that we were doing ourselves came from, you know, that innovation of those group of people who are very highly competitive amongst each other as friends. And we always wanted to do the best, have the best, want to be heard like the best. You heard a Ruthless record, you knew one thing, Soren, it was quality. You knew that.
Absolutely.
I don't care what level. I don't care if we was talking about this, you knew it was going to be quality because that's how we ran our ship, you know.
Be sure to check out the History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
It will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Yo MTV back with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
There's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.